the DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Monday, March 27th, 2023. Thought I'd give you a little studio/circa look here. Shout out to Dave Olson for all the artwork behind me. He does an amazing job on our ECSI Wall of Fame, and we got a lot more pictures coming there as well. Hope everyone survived the madness. The Final Four is set. 4 teams that I would say, honestly, maybe, just maybe, you had one of them advancing, and that was UConn. Shout out to Connor. What is up, my brother? Happy Monday. Glad you have joined us. UConn, listen, I said this. I went back on our tapes in late November, early December, 14-0, number 2 in the country. Just dismantled Oregon, beat Alabama by 13, just beat Okie State. And I said, guys, just pump the brakes here. I said, we are well ahead of schedule here. Let's bring this team with us to March. And they did. And just impressive wins, down at half to Rick Pitino and Iona, big second half, 2-point lead or 1-point lead against St. Mary's, huge second half. And then this past weekend, they just truly flexed their muscles, boxed the wire against Arkansas, good first half there. And the Zags, yes, Timmy, third and fourth foul were huge there, but total domination there, and now 5.5-point favorites against Miami, who Texas was up 13 in that second half, and people now saying the coaching, and he had the interim tag, Mr. Terry. If they don't hire him, shame on you, Texas, and Terry will be picked up in 2 seconds. So the man upstairs has a plan, Mr. Terry, and if it's not Texas, don't worry, you'll be all set there. And then on the left side, listen, been talking about the San Diego State team forever. I know there's no Kawhi Leonard, but you guys don't watch them. You don't follow them. This team, and they proved it this weekend against 2 high-octane offenses with Alabama and Creighton. They know they can't match them basket for basket, okay? But what do? Eventually, you're going to play their pace, and you did. And Creighton found out the hard way. Was it a foul? It's just like the Super Bowl. Was it a flag? Yeah, by the letter of the law, it was a flag. I mean, if you looked at his hand, he was pushing him on the side. But again, should they have gone to overtime? I don't know. Creighton, don't cry. Should have done like the other Big East team did. Win by 25. Don't have to worry about it. And then FAU, again, hats off. I mean, this team, I think they got 35 wins now. Fun to watch. San Diego State -2, UConn -5.5. All the ECSI VIPs sitting with that 16-1 or greater ticket. Is it over? Hell no. Mr. Lariana, I give the slight edge to Miami at coaching. Pound for pound, they can match up. They proved it yesterday to Texas, who the Texas-UConn matchup would have really been a hell of a matchup. But anyways, today I said, I reached out to the true OG, Mr. Pops himself. I said, hey, why don't you come on Monday at 1:30? Let's talk. You'll be the first one here on ECSI this week. Talk about the Final Four. There was a boxing match. Talk about the Lakers. Talk about the UCLA game against the Zags. We'll get everyone caught up. But, oh, by the way, Dodgers play this week. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Someone I can call a true friend, the real OG himself, the one and only Mr. Pop, DiBiase.
What's up? Young OG. I guess I would like to say young OG, right? Because I'm not, I wish I was more up there in age so I could talk about, that time when when Lou Alcindor wasn't. But I'm 80s and below. But what's up, world? What's up, world? You know, it's always a pleasure to be here with the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It was a great tournament this weekend as well, too. As I told Jeff in the backstage, that if you think that this is going to be the worst Final Four of all time, you're crazy. And that just shows that you don't watch college basketball until it becomes March Madness. These four teams have been exciting teams all season. UConn jumped right out the gate, 14 double-digit wins, including knocking off the number one team in the nation, Alabama, by 15, handing them, other than Oklahoma, handing them their worst loss of the season. Then you got FAU. I know FAU get a little bit of some slack because, I just looked at the schedule. Yeah, they really didn't play anybody when you look at the schedule. Yeah, Florida. Okay, yeah, Florida. Florida on a down year. And Ole Miss, forget about it. Ole Miss was literally a bottom feeder in the SEC this year. We understand that part. But they showed up in both of those games, and literally they beat Florida, the better of the two. So when you look at everything that's all said and done, I just really think that they got avoided on their schedule. FAU was a tough out, and a lot of teams know that. But we know that FAU is going to be in a bunch of preseason tournaments next year, or at one of the exclusive ones. Then when we talk about Miami, Coach Larinaga, this guy, what was it, 15 years ago or so, Jeff? 15, 16 years ago, he takes George Mason, little George Mason, and this is when George Mason was a colonial school. See, everybody don't remember the old Colonial. The Colonial is literally put, I think, about 8 teams over the last 20 years in bigger conferences. Davidson, George Mason, who else? George Washington, Old Dominion, James Madison. All these schools have broke out now. Now they're all in regular conferences. So pretty much, Larry Nagel comes back. He gets so disrespected this year. The guy finishes first place regular season for the ACC. Beat every single team that's supposed to be those boys in the ACC this year, and we kept being like, "Well, we did." I don't know about Miami. I don't know about Miami. They're an ACC team, damn it, with a top 5. We can say Larinaga is a top 5 coach in the conference. Let's just keep it real. They might not be a top 5 team, but if he gets the players, he can do something. A few years back, when they got trashed by Villanova, they were a really good team that year. And they gave him a bad seed then. They gave him a 4 seed that year. They gave him a 5 seed this year. So you got Miami, who nobody should be surprised about, because Miami just had a messed up seed. Miami's a real 3, if you think about it. You win the ACC regular season, you shouldn't be a 5. But come on, they made Virginia a 4 seed, and Virginia was the number 14, was the number 6 team in the nation for 2 months. So the committee really was terrible this year, to keep it honest with you, Jeff. Like, they were awful when it came to how the seeding worked. You saw the favoritism, and you saw the just, what are we doing here? But then let me get to the California boys. San Diego State. San Diego State has been the best team on the West Coast for the last decade. Go run their record since the Kawhi Leonard days, and they have been the best team on the West Coast, hands down. They may not be able to recruit like USC and UCLA, where they get these 5 stars, these so-called prodigies, these so-called NBA right away guys. Woo, 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 woo. But what they do get is the core of these California kids that are really good players. And California is producing some of the best players all over the nation for college. So when you can go ahead and get the heartbeat and really win the state of California when it comes down to recruiting, and then you go get the right guys, but they get the guys that fit their team. They don't go get guys because there's some superstar that at some prep school. They go get the guys that fit exactly what their team is about. And pretty much they're a physical team that rely a lot on defense, but they've been able to keep this mantra going for a while now, Jeff. And you know this. And 2 years ago, they were 30-2 walking into the tournament. And they were going to be one of the favorites in that tournament as well, too. Possible 1 seed in the West that year as well, too. So San Diego State is I won't call them a modern day UNLV, because UNLV was a different animal. That was a different situation, because that's the the old Moiba, the old Moiba defense, and all that good stuff, running and gunning up and down the court, all that good stuff. But with this San Diego State team, it's slow it down, get rough, sacrifice your offense for defense. Because people say, what do you mean sacrifice your offense for defense? That means that we may not play the greatest offense in the world, but we're going to stay playing some great defense. You know what I mean? We'll substitute a couple missed buckets to make for a couple stops, because we can make up for it on the other end by the end of the game, because we're playing defense. And San Diego State has that mentality right now that's just absolutely it's very, very contagious. And I know they're not the sexy UCLA, they're not USC. It's little old San Diego State. You know what I mean? But San Diego State has came up over the last 25 years or so when it comes to how well that school has, been able to get their donors and things like that. It's not like how it used to be over there. They're somewhat of a major school. And my last thoughts on this, don't leave the Mountain West. Pac-12 doesn't deserve the San Diego State. They don't deserve the Fresno States of the world. I think the Mountain West, by getting 4 teams this year, have pretty much established that they're toe-and-toe with the Pac-12, especially with UCLA and USC leaving now. So pretty much you don't need to go to a conference that you're about to be better than. Think about that part. So pretty much that's my Final Four look-see, but I think that this is one of the best tournaments that we've ever had. I said that before we even started this tournament, and I just think that this is actually the right way to go about it, because nobody knew who was going to be in this Final Four. A lot of people were just butthurt because their brackets died day one. It's that simple. If your bracket dies day one, you're going to be mad about everything, period, point blank. And I thought that we've had a great tournament. We've had great stories. And you know what? You got to give props to the fives. The fives really sent a message this year, because I thought that every 5 seed could get beat in the first round, Jeff. Every 5 seed defeated me. Period, pretty much point blank. I literally went against every 5 seed. There was not one 5 seed I trusted. And then they all get past the first round, and you say, oh, whatever. And then I had this feeling when Miami played Indiana, it was going to be a game. It was going to be a game in Miami's favor, because Indiana seemed like a really tired team in that tournament. And then when you looked at, and then San Diego State is probably going to get the least amount of love, them and FAU, because you have to understand what they got to do in the second round. You get a 13 and the other one gets a 16. So everybody's going to look at that and be like, well, you did have kind of a square. You know what I mean? But when you look at the path Miami took the toughest road. Drake, he wasn't supposed to beat Drake. He wasn't supposed to beat Indiana. And you definitely wasn't supposed to beat Houston, because Houston was they acted like Big E was about to come out and play for Houston this year. You know what I mean? Is Elvin Hayes reborn or something like that? What Akeem playing? Is Clyde playing? What's going on? Why is Houston so hyped? You feel what I'm saying? And then they beat Texas, and Texas literally, let's keep it real. Other than your UConn Huskies, Texas was the team everybody was choosing to win the national championship, even before that game was over. Even before that game was over, it was up 12 points. People say, I'm about to put down my future on Texas now. I saw them all on the internet. And there's a lot of these guys that have these shows and everything that we be watching and everything that always think that they have the golden tickets. And literally, that all changed within 30 minutes. Then everybody just had this is about to be the worst tournament ever, man. It's about to be the worst tournament ever. Why? Because your ticket lost? It's not the worst tournament ever. It's just you ain't going to make no money today. That's all it is. And don't worry, we're all going to be watching. And also, another thing for people, who made you a CBS executive? Why do you care so much about ratings? That has nothing to do with you. They've already made their money off the sponsors and the ads that get ran during the game. Let's not jump into things that we don't have, that we're not well-versed about. That's all I can say, Jeff, is that, I deal with the sponsorships and things like that in the boxing world, and how ads and things run and things of that nature. You guys have no clue what you're talking about. The money's that they've already been paid. The ratings I'm telling you right now, Bounty will love for 3.5 million people to watch their commercial about nothing. Okay, so it's not Super Bowl numbers because they've broken it up. If they kept it just on CBS, they would be getting 32 million viewers for each game, literally, for each game they put on. But they broke it up. You got TBS, you got TNT, you got True TV involved, and they are breaking records for their network now. And CBS is still getting a big chunk of everybody watching the game. So pretty much at the end of the day, this is a great tournament. It's been great for TV in my opinion as well too. And I think that this is not going anywhere. You have to get ready for unpredictable tournaments now. We don't have teams that are just going to go out there and beat 33 and zip anymore. It doesn't work like that in today's college basketball. It's just too many good players. It's too many good coaches. It's just so much parity. And that's what you love about college basketball over college football. College football is predictable at the end of the day. We know who the Final Four going to be. It's going to be one team that everybody argued that shouldn't be here, Alabama, whatever other SEC team that's chasing Alabama, and Ohio State. We all tired of looking at that movie. And now they got to expand the playoffs so they can try to be like college basketball. So you can have some parity. So you can have some real upsets. But it still won't work. Because, okay, you're going to put Alabama up against the best team in the AAC. They're going to still beat them by 42. At the end of the day, we got a real power balance in college football. But college football is a feeder for the NFL. So everybody thinks they're an NFL scout now. So that's why you watch college. Because if you hear most people talk about college football, they're always talking about the next level. They're never talking about just the game. You guys understand that 90% of them aren't going to the league? So don't sell that dream. A guy 5'6" corner with heart, bruh, you'll be lucky to get a camp tryout, okay? Cut it out. You know what I mean? Bill Belichick said it best himself. I don't want a 5'6" guy with heart. I'd rather take me a 6-foot guy who runs a 4.65 and can cover, because that's who belongs in the NFL. A 5'6" guy, he better be able to do everything like a superhero, because I can't do anything with him. It's that simple, man. And I know we've had cases and people who've done things, but it's very rare. So all in all, Jeff, I'll just end with that we got a great tournament going here. And, you know, if you're mad about it, don't watch. It's that simple. We got plenty of other stuff you can watch. You can watch boring NBA if you want to, because NBA is nothing right now but a track race to the playoffs with 4 through 11, and literally it's Harlem Globetrotters every night. So, you know, if you want to be into that, cool. But we're going to sit over here and watch real basketball with the NCAA. And let's not forget about the NIT being a great tournament this year as well, too.
You know, it's funny you brought up UNLV, the Amoeba defense, and the fact of the matter is I was just trying to think of the UConn run and try to compare it, and that was the team that I came up with, the Larry Johnson and you know, Grandma Marsh, the Tark, and all those guys, and the run that they had. Then I'm trying to put the pieces together. If FAU and let's say UConn played, it would probably be the Duke versus Butler. You know, if it was, you know, UConn versus San Diego State. Listen, you know, here's what people really got to understand. And the fact of the matter is, you might not see that UConn team again. You might not see that Miami team again. You might not see the FAU or the San Diego State. I mean, new setting, new arena, new everything. All four teams well deserving to be here. And you talked about who probably had the hardest. I think all these teams had a real tough, you know, bracket to get through. But I really look at the San Diego State team this past weekend, a defensive team, one that, rolls the ball out, first one to 60 wins. And when you got to face an Alabama and then a Creighton and you're still standing, it's hats off. I mean, listen, all these teams went through, FAU, I knew right away, 1 point dogs opening up against K-State. Hey, again, K-State, great run, UCLA Gonzaga was a war, an absolute war. UCLA up 13 at half. And with a minute and a half to go, the Zags outscored UCLA by 22 in that second half. And then UCLA made the miraculous comeback. And then the Zags used the Villanova play against UNC in the championship game with the dagger to the heart there. And then UConn was just business like Arkansas, which I thought would put up a better fight. And then, again, the Zags UCLA was their championship. And it took too much out of them to get to UConn there. It'll be a great time. I think we'll be talking more, you and I, this week about the Final Four as we get closer to Saturday. NBA, I know there was some boxing over the weekend. Maybe you want to talk about the boxing quickly, and then we can get to LeBron and the Lakers. And obviously the Dodgers open up camp as well this week.
Well, boxing this weekend was boxing. You know what I mean? PBC probably throws the best events out of anybody in boxing when it comes to promotion. If we say this, probably the best TV deal goes to Bob Arum and Top Rank. And the people with probably the most money to just spend up on a fight is Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. But when it comes down to PBC, they got a little bit of both. They got a great network and Showtime that supports them. They even had a Fox deal for a while as well, too. And then you got Al Heyman. Al Heyman has put on some of the biggest concerts, some of the biggest TV shows, and some of the biggest sporting events of all time. Probably the most talked about man in the sport as well, too. So Al Heyman gets together once again with Tom Brown, the best promoter in boxing when it comes down to just being a promoter that's promoting boxing and just not himself. They put together David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. This was a grudge match that they put together that was brewing for the last 5 years. And pretty much it finally came to a head. But I'm going to tell you like this. The reason why that fight got made and it got made the way that it did, y'all all better thank Jake Paul. Because Jake Paul made all these people have to get up off their butts and start doing their job. And stop doing these one-sided fights and thinking that you're going to pay $80 for that. Okay? He brought back the excitement to boxing to where everybody feels like, hey, these YouTubers, man, they don't know how to fight. So I want to watch a real boxer. So don't be mad at that man for helping you guys, for bringing back life to a sport that literally, I'm telling you, is in the convalescent home right now. It's Jeff. Them and horse racing are both sitting there, and the doctor's feeding them pills every day, keeping them. They're on 9 pills a day. Think about it. And horse racing is literally sitting in the is sitting in the hospice room right now. You know what I mean? I hate to say that, and I love horse racing. You know that, Jeff. But this might be one of the most downest years in horse racing I've ever seen. They're more worried about scandal than anything. You know what I mean? And so with boxing, we had a great fight, great pay-per-view. And this had everybody excited, even the MMA fans that love MMA and despise boxing were even interested in watching this fight. But that's because they had people involved from their world like Ariel Helwani and things of that nature. And then you got to also know that the fact that they've been promoting this Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight for the last few weeks as well, too. So everybody's getting more excited about boxing because you have a big fight on the way, but they're setting big fights up right now over the next 10 weeks because they had to do it. Jake Paul made them go stop playing around and go ahead and get down to business. But that's because the money opened back up because he's making a lot of money and they seeing that he's helping the business sport make a lot of money. So now everybody wants to get back. Everybody wants to get their piece right now. So, that's one of the best things. But let me break down the fight real quick. It was a tale of two fights. Caleb Plant, smooth moving white kid from Nashville who, is kind of I won't call him a gimmick, but come on, Jeff. We know what they're trying to sell in boxing when they bring out a good-looking white guy and things of that nature. You know what I mean? And so pretty much you had him, great, skillful fighter. amateur champion as well too. David Benavidez, a young prodigy, young phenom who won his first world title at 21, but he's a little troubled, you know what I mean? Because he lost his belt twice, but not in a ring. He lost it one time. He lost it because of a substance abuse issue. I'm not going to bring up what that substance was because you can read that yourself. And out of respect, because I do know David personally as well. And then he lost the other one on I think like a 1.2 weight difference on the scale. So he's been the WBC champion twice, but he's lost that belt twice. But they keep letting him be the interim champion of that sanctioning body. So he knows that all roads lead to Canelo, but there's certain guys that he has to knock off. So these two had a real beef somewhat. You guys can also run the tape of them going back and forth at City Gym in Las Vegas. And they finally got to get it on Saturday. And I'll say this, Caleb Plant came out and was an absolute master boxer in the first 5 to 6 rounds. But he got a little tired once David Benavidez figured out exactly what he needed to do. And David Benavidez showed the crazy power that he does have throughout the night, but he was never able to put Caleb down. They did go the whole 12, but Caleb's trainer did tell him in about the 10th round that he was going to stop the fight if he didn't see anything from him. So you can tell that the fight changed on a heartbeat once this guy figured it out and showed the pure skills that he does have. So the fight did wind up being the way that a lot of fans wanted it to, because we don't have fans anymore that really watch for a good fight. They really want to watch their guy win. You know what I mean? It's about their guy winning. It's not about a great fight. It's about their guy winning. And I'm giving an example to this because we had two fights prior to that. A fight between a young man that I know named Chris Colbert, prime time. He's from Brooklyn. And good guy. Me and Chris are very, very cool. And another boxer that I'm cool with, and he's also one of David's he's in David Benavidez's little entourage camp, you know what I mean? Rayo Valenzuela. And Rayo Valenzuela is seen as a big prospect, somebody that excites everybody because he got these manufactured fights that he gets knockouts in. You know what I mean? Well, the last time out, he got knocked out, but he still had the respect and love of all the fans. Chris Colbert, we were at his fight last February in Vegas, Cosmopolitan. He was his first ever headliner. He wound up losing that fight on a decision to a very, very good Hector Garcia, who just fought Tank Davis back in January. So pretty much they get it on, and Rayo does get a first round knockdown, Jeff. But Jeff, you've seen plenty of fights where a guy gets a knockdown and then he gets absolutely beat up throughout the night. But we'll say this, Chris Colbert didn't necessarily beat him up, but he boxed his head off. Jeff, I know you've seen this before where a guy gets his head boxed off, but he is throwing the more powerful shots, but he's not doing enough to really warrant that he's the winner. So guess what? Chris Colbert wins 95-94 on each card. I had Chris Colbert winning 96-93. And I feel that the announcers played a big part in everybody saying that Rayo got robbed for the fight because they were just so adamant that he was winning the fight. But the thing was, though, you're only saying one side. If I see a guy hit you with 4 jabs and then a right hook and you don't say anything about it, what fight are you watching? You're just talking now. You're just talking, bro. And you're telling stories about Rayo's life as he's getting beat up, but you're not saying he's getting hit with this jab. But every time Chris gets hit in the glove, oh, my God, did you see that? He almost knocked him out. He hit him in the glove, bro. Oh, he hit all air. He almost knocked him out. How do you knock somebody out? Yeah, he almost knocked the air out. Yep. The air, man, the air is over there gasping for dear life right now. And I felt like y'all were judging with your heart and not judging with your eyes. And that's the biggest problem in today's boxing. You're going to play favorites with somebody that you like, and when they lose a close fight, all of a sudden they got robbed, they got this, they got that. No, they should have been better. It's that simple. You should have been better. And he knows that. At the end of the day, any loser in a boxing match will tell you, they'll keep it real with you. When all the dust settle, everything, I should have been better. I should have been better. I've been around so many boxers over the last 5 years, Jeff. So they can't play. You can't play me on what you say to the media. Because I've been around guys that were big, hyped up prospects and lost. And the first thing they say, man, Pop, I should have did more, man. I should have did more. I lost. Yeah, you lost. Yeah, I shouldn't never let it be up in the judge's hands. No, you should have did your damn job. That's what you should have did. You should have went out there and thoroughly beat them down. If you had opportunities to put them away and you didn't put them away, then you know what? Tough titty. It is what it is at the end of the day, Jeff. You got to seize the opportunity. If you don't, you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself. That's it. That's it and that's all. But that's the boxing world for you guys right now. Guys, look out for Anthony Joshua this weekend going against Jermaine Franklin. Me and Jeff are very familiar with Mr. AJ, but you guys have to understand AJ is still one of the biggest names in boxing, and we need AJ. We need the heavyweights back on the front. We need the heavyweights front and forward. And Jeff knows this too. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder were the closest thing that we got to Ali Frazier in this era, and everybody was into it. Everybody was with it. There was no question that they were going to watch this fight. Ryan and Tank are more of a social media pretty boy versus thug boy. Everybody is always looking to go viral. I'm your favorite. I'm your favorite little cute guy that is doing my little photo shoots and wearing my drip and all that other stuff. And you fight against a bunch of has-beens and never wases, and then all of a sudden you're the faces of boxing. Leave me alone. Just because one walked in the room with Oscar De La Hoya, the other one walked in the room with Floyd Mayweather. Why don't we just say that? Because at the end of the day, fight fans really want to see Oscar Floyd part 2. And they think that they're getting part 2 with these two. It's so funny to me, man. And that's why boxing is the way it is today. And it's improving. It's getting better. But you got to do better. And that's all I got to say at the end of the day.
We could talk for a few seconds like we did about 15 minutes ago about the NBA. Listen, playing out the season, I mean, the West is the wild, wild West. I was just on social media yesterday, and then all of a sudden I read a tweet, AD goes down again. I don't have the specs. I assume you might. Just give us your temperature on the return of LeBron. I think there's more drama going on in Dallas. Kyrie goes there. Now Luke is hurt. He's not hurt. Then Kyrie's playing. He's not. And it was funny. I was just up here. I'm getting the updates as we speak. Harden activated, scheduled to play today, and then Embiid downgraded to not play. Foot. The Stars can't play with the Stars, I guess, until the playoffs. But give us your Laker report, my brother.
Well, I'm going to be simple. Lakers lost yesterday simply because they was dealing with the guy that had revenge on his mind. It's all right. And I knew this was going to happen. It happens to every team when they bring back a guy who's the star of the team from an injury or something of that nature. They play flat. They play, they had the Lakers playing at 12 o'clock on a Sunday. The Lakers haven't played well all season at 12 o'clock on a Sunday. So pretty much they draw the Chicago Bulls, who are a team that's desperate right now to hold on to their playoff spot as well too. And then they go ahead and get themselves a good win. Caruso knows exactly what the Lakers want to do. Pat Beverly, a guy that should have never been on the Lakers roster. See, that's like bringing in a Russian spy into the CIA. You know what I mean? That's the wrong type of person you bring into the room, because once he leaves, he's going to reveal all of our secrets. And, that just seemed like it was kind of a revenge game, and the Lakers just were flat from the start. And I think that they just forgot about their defensive principles that they've been so good at since LeBron hasn't been in there. They got a little comfortable that they knew LeBron was back, so they could slack a little bit because LeBron to make up for it. No, you can't do that to LeBron. LeBron's getting excited about the way that you guys are playing because you're locking up on defense, and it can make his life a lot easier when he gets back to where he doesn't have to do so damn much. And pretty much yesterday, the Lakers just were not good defensively and got beat. It's that simple. But it's okay. It's okay. The Lakers were never going to win their last 12 games of the season that they needed. They weren't, Jeff. They just came off of winning 3 in a row. It's okay. You did what you had to do. You're still in the play-in. Let's not panic. I told you this last week. The Lakers for this last 10-game stretch need to go 7-3. They're 2-1 now. Really, in these last 11 games, they're 3-1. So that's a perfect start. It's a great start. You got Chicago on Wednesday. Then you got Memphis Thursday or Friday. I got to check. And then you good. I think that you can get the Bulls game back. We know the Memphis game is going to be tough, but you've beaten Memphis all season. That's something that you have in your queue, that you've beaten Memphis all season. So pretty much that's who the Lakers end their month with. They have to split. It's that simple. And then you finish the month 3-2. You're okay. You're okay. But you finish the month in reality, you finish it 10-5. You actually finish the month 10-5. Or they're 8-5 right now, right? Now, if they were to go 1-1, they'd be 9-6. That's great. But I said that if they went 10-5, that would be even better. I had that already in my head, Jeff, that the Lakers got to go 10-5 this month. We're right where we need to be when it comes to what, because we're not going to win every game. Just get over that shit. You're not going to win every game unless you need to. The Lakers yesterday, that was the best type of loss you could get, a Sunday midday. Sunday midday loss, who cares? Just move on because you're still in the playoff race. And so then the Lakers at the end of the year, they got the 5 most important games of the year once we hit April, okay? And those games in April, those are going to be very, very important because the Lakers can't slack a minute. And when I look at this April schedule, they got Houston to start off with. They had a bad loss to Houston. And when you look at that Houston loss, that's the worst loss that they had all month because Houston was a winnable game, even without AD. So if you win that game, you're actually in the 7 hole right now. Possibly you're in the 6 hole because you own the season record over the Warriors. They beat the Warriors 3 out of 4 times. Nobody's talking about that, though, Jeff. Nobody's talking about that, though. So you got Houston, and then you have Utah, who was a team that was kind of in the way. They were on play-in status as well, but they're falling off right now. But they can get easily back into this thing with some wins, but they had every starter on that team is out. So I don't see them finishing up this season even worried about winning any more basketball games. But I shouldn't say that because everybody wants to beat the Lakers. The 2 key, so they play Utah the 4th and the 9th, home and away, a road and a home game. Then they go ahead, and these will probably be the 2 most important games of this whole sequence. The Clippers on the 5th of April and the Suns on that Friday, the 7th. Both games are staples. Just one of them, the Lakers got to be the road team because they're playing the Clippers. And Phoenix, they already beat them by 11 last week. So these games are crucial right now. When I say look at these last 7 games of the season, Jeff, I say that, okay, I said that they got to go 7-3. We're 2-1 right now. All right. That means we got to go 5-2. It's that simple. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You got to go 5-2. So hopefully they can go ahead, wrap up these last 2 games of the month, take a little pressure off themselves, and only have to win 3 out of 5 of these games in April instead of trying to have to win 4 out of 5 or every single game. You just have to take it one game at a time. But the Lakers do understand what time it is. These last 7 games are the most important games of the season. And no, they're not the most important games of LeBron James's legacy, hater, because LeBron James' legacy is already cemented intact. LeBron James could have easily retired right after the bubble championship, and he still would be considered an all-time great. It doesn't matter what LeBron does now. It's just adding on to the resume. He has to get the 6 titles to make sure that you guys can crown him. Even if he got the 6 titles, it would still be excuses about Jordan being the better player. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. LeBron's going to be always in the position that LeBron's in, but he's already cemented a legacy. So let's stop bringing up legacy. Lakers have already cemented a legacy. Let's stop bringing up legacy. This is just another season in the NBA. Let's get over that part. The Lakers have proved their point. LeBron has proved his point. The Celtics have proved their point. Jason Tatum has proved his point. Jaylen Brown's proved his point. You guys got to stop with the whole proving stuff. because I know me and Jeff both don't like Jason Tatum, but we never not gonna say he ain't a superstar. That's some just pure hatred right there. We know that he's distracted, but we're not gonna say he ain't no superstar. You know what I mean? So get that hate out your heart. That's all I can say, Jeff. Get the hate out your heart. All these sports fans, just get the hate out your heart and start talking some realistic stuff. Stop making up things to just make yourself feel and sleep better at night. You know what I mean?
Thursday, MLB opens up. Friday, the weekend kicks off. Dodgers, high expectations. Again, I think the Houston is the favorite. Yankees are without 3 starters in the pitching rotation. Of course, Dodgers, Padres. Give us your temperature report on the Dodgers as you get closer to opening day and first pitch, my brother.
Oh, the Dodgers, we smooth. We're a machine. We're all right. We ain't worried about nothing. We ain't got no pressure. I'm going to tell you who got some pressure. That team sitting down south of us, the one that wants to spend $2 billion on payroll. You know what I mean? On Manny Machado, who shows up when I want to. Yeah, that's why you're not a Dodger anymore. Because the Dodgers would have paid you a stupid amount of money as well, too, if you weren't so lazy in the playoffs. It's that simple. But we know you didn't want to be here, so it's cool. It's cool because we like to win games a lot. You know what I mean? We don't need to set up the board to help us out the way that the Padres did and give away your whole future. So pretty much they're the ones with the pressure, in my opinion. Where's their pitchers at? Do they have as many good pitchers as the Dodgers do? The Dodgers got 10 guys right now that could start. I'm not making that up either, Jeff. They got 10 guys who can actually start MLB games right now and have 3.5 ERAs and stuff like that. Do the Padres have that? I don't think so. Yeah, they might be a little bit better when it comes to the hitting part. But at the end of the day, it comes down to who has the best pitchers. And the Dodgers have the best pitchers. And that's why the Dodgers that's why I ain't worried about nothing. Because my pitchers are going to take care of me and my hitters just got to hit. It's that simple. We'll lose some games, but all in all, we're still going to be the same team that we are every single season. Because believe it or not, even though he doesn't have the World Series to back him up, when you look at the amount of wins that he has over since his Dodger tenure started, Dave Roberts is the best manager in baseball, win-wise. So who's better than Dave Roberts right now at winning baseball games? When has Dave Roberts had a setback season since he took over the Dodgers? I'll wait. Ain't been no setback season. Everything has been better, and more better. So I'm not worried about the Dodgers being competitive this year. What I'm worried about with the Dodgers is them being complacent and them not taking care of their business when they need to take care of their business, or overdoing it when you don't need to overdo it. Like winning 5 extra games that you kind of didn't need to win. You know what I mean? Where you get everybody so damn tired at the end of the year that once you get to the playoff series, you can't do anything once they let you get a week off. The Dodgers have to make sure that they're resting and recovering very well. And I feel like the Dodgers are going to make a monster move for some type of offensive help mid-season, just to go ahead and excite the fan base a little bit, because they do need another outfielder. They do need a significant infielder as well, too. Rojas is a good glue guy, a good little defensive player, but that's not going to be somebody that's going to hit 40 home runs for us this year. I think that the Dodgers will probably be in the market for whomever might be available, say outfield-wise, when we get to the mid-season point. And I think that the Dodgers might be in the running for another closer as well, too, or some type of relief help. But that's the only things that I see. But I know a lot of people were very quick to say, I don't know about the Dodgers because they lost Bellinger and, they lost Lux and they lost. Those guys are great, but they were more like luxuries as well, too, especially Lux. You know what I mean? So, and Bellinger needed a fresh start because the Dodgers were asking him to still be the guy that won MVP a few years back. And ever since he got hurt, he hasn't been the same player. And I just think the Dodgers kind of rushed things back with him, and they just were a little impatient. So I think that him going to Chicago, he can really prove if he's still a really good baseball player. I don't think the Dodgers said to themselves that he was worth the price tag for them to worry if he's still a really good baseball player. So I feel like him going to Chicago for a year, he's only in Chicago for a year. That's him pretty much showing the MLB I still got it. And if Cody has just anywhere near the MVP season that he had before, he'll get paid because he's supposed to be a guy that gets paid a whole lot of money because he won an MVP. But in baseball, the MVP award doesn't work the same way like it does in other sports. Sometimes it won't get you paid. You know what I mean? It won't get you anything because you come back the next season, you don't play that well, and teams can start kind of nitpicking that situation as well too. So we know that him and Scott Boras are just trying to rob the bank right now, and pretty much they're going to go to the Cubs. He's going to have a good season, or they're going to trade him mid-season if the Cubs are struggling. They'll probably trade him to a contender as well too, and then pretty much he'll probably be able to get his career back on track just like Jock Peterson did. So, I think the only thing that worries me with the Dodgers right now is not having a big name closer. But that's always when the Dodgers are better, when they have a closer that they've developed and they trust. I know that they brought in the guy that we had last year, Dempster, because he's street credit, credibility. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it wasn't that he was a great pitcher. He got credibility, Kimbrel. So that's how it goes sometimes. And I think that they were just waiting in the wings for their next Camley, their next Eric Gagne, their next Jonathan Broxton, because the Dodgers developed their own closers. The Dodgers have never needed to run around and go get some over-the-hill closer who's 15 years deep into the league. The Dodgers just don't do that. You know what I mean? So they just need to make sure they have a sufficient closer, and it's not a closer by committee situation. Hopefully they let Almonte be the closer. I really like that guy. That guy's a really, really good pitcher. I don't know if he's still on the roster, but Almonte's a damn good pitcher, and I felt like Dave Roberts made a lot of mistakes last year when it came to him when we were going at the Padres. We all know Game 4 was an absolute disaster. You do not take a pitcher out that's damn near pitching the shutout the way that he was. You don't take those pitchers out until it's time to take them out. You're up 3-0. What are we doing? Like, what are you doing, Dave? But I understood because it's an analyticals move, blah, 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 blah. But I think the Dodgers this year, as long as they don't overthink things, they should be fine. And I think that Dave, knowing him, he probably had that conversation with Andrew as well, too, that, we're going to have to stop this whole, let the robot make all the calls. Let me make a call once in a while to keep us going in the right. Analytics is great because it's helping us win 90% of our games. But in these playoff games, analytics really don't matter. They really are. They're kind of in the way, to be honest with you. When you're in the playoffs, that's when you have to really go back into the old school mentality of baseball and just do what's right for the game. Don't do what's right by what the computer said, because the computer is giving you predictable answers. That's the whole thing. But if you've played the game long enough to know, you're better than the computer. So I think that Dave Roberts has to realize that, and the Dodgers should be A1 this year, to be honest with you. They'll either win the West or they'll be a wild card. It's that simple, Jeff.
We'll have week-to-week talks about the Dodgers, the Red Sox, baseball talk. Don't know if we'll have catch up later here during the week, if we play back next week on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So I'm going to give you the final question, Pops. Monday night next week, you have the newspaper in front of you. The championship game will be...
Man, I'm messing up right now, but we're at the finish line because March Madness. I got really exclusive for my clients this year. Like literally, I did not break out any plays for the public this year. Only clients this year because I just felt my clients been so good to me over the last 6-7 years. I can't keep giving up stuff for free for people to just kind of like it. You know what I mean? So pretty much. Since we're here, Jeff, and it's you, I'll do it just for you. Let's
We
keep
don't
it.
have to say spreads or nothing. I'm just saying if and again, there's no whatever here. I'm just saying for
Okay.
show purposes and for a little fun. Monday's game, and I'm not putting
I'm-
your credibility. I'm just saying Monday night we will be tuning in at 9:20 opening tip, and it will be.
It's gonna be, I'm gonna say it right now. So they don't shoot me when I go down to San Diego. I'm gonna say San Diego State. And so they won't hang me when I go to Connecticut. I'm gonna say UConn. But I'm gonna keep it real with you. The one that's gonna be the ratings would be a ratings darling, believe it or not, the South Florida game. Miami versus Florida Atlantic.
FAU.
Yeah, that'll have the whole state of Florida thinking that they're the best thing to ever drop in basketball ever. But yeah, but
That would be something. That would be something.
let's
So,
just roll.
again.
Let's just roll favorites. San Diego State, UConn, because literally with about 6 minutes left, I said, "Well, it looks like he's going to be UConn, Texas on Monday night."
Exactly.
And then
That's my point.
I think Miami heard me and said, "Bruh, they're not even making it past Sunday. What are you talking about Monday night?"
Pops, the scroll has been going the whole time at Pop DBRC at Prime Wave Media, hashtag the Prime Time Capper. Tell everyone where they can go find all your work, your plays, and all that good stuff.
Well, if you guys want to watch the replay of the show, it's always on the Twitter, Primetime Angles, the premier sports betting show. We've been at that for about 5 years now. And if you guys remember, that's the replacement show for my original show, Capcast. Shout out to my man Tony Harrison as well, too. My former, my man, that's my guy right there. That's the guy who believed in from day one. So I always got to send a shout out to Tone. And you guys can catch me on the Twitter. I always have my stuff out there. You guys can catch me on the IG as well, too, at DBICWave _ If you guys are trying to be a part of the Primetime Sports Investors, you guys can always email me at PrimeWaveMedia at yahoo.com as well, too, so I can get you situated. We got baseball coming up this year. I got a real short price for that one as well, too. We call that the second half. It's end of the year deal, things like that, where you get baseball and football and the starting portion of basketball as well, too, for the next we're not 6 months yet, but for the rest of the year, you'll have all the sports that I do cover. So you guys can go ahead and check that out as well, too. Very consistent in what we do as well, too, just like Jeff and his group as well. So, you're dealing with some of the best. We aren't fly-by-night guys or anything like that. We are actual lifers to the game, and pretty much we're here to stay. That's what it's all about. So we're just going to keep on capping, and we're just going to keep cashing tickets, and hopefully you guys keep tagging along on that, and we'll be here. We'll be here for sure. But it's always a pleasure talking with the Don at Cape Cod. If he needs me every day, he'll know I'll be here if I'm available.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to keep, as you and I like to say, we're going to keep the feet moving forward and, check our timelines. We were back here before Twitter was almost Twitter, and it's always a blessing, whether it's the NFL Bet Exchange or it's a early afternoon Friday breaking down Manhattan versus Iona. No Rick Pitino this year. Shout out again to Connor. Thank you so
Thanks,
much for
Connor.
showing up here. But it's always, again, I posted the picture before we started. I saw it earlier today. Larry in his Indiana State and Magic with his Michigan State, and it draws flashbacks. I remember riding the bus to high school that day as we were getting ready for that game, and everyone was all excited for Michigan State, and here I was trying to cheer on Indiana State, but that game was over pretty quick. So anyways, shout out to all. Thank you for following us again. Go follow Pop at Pop DBRC and at the Prime Wave Media. You can follow myself at EC Sports Invest. All Pop's followers, if you're not following us on the YouTube, please do at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. And anyone that wants to follow me, I'll follow you back. It's as simple as that. Any questions, you can reach out to me on my Twitter timeline. If you have any questions about East Coast Sports Investors, you can ask there or send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. For myself, Jeff Dawson at East Coast Sports Invest, from the one, the only, the true OG, Mr. Pop DiBiase, we wish everyone a blessed day. Happy Monday. 5 o'clock, Riley flying solo on the closing bell. You can catch that here. Otherwise, as Pops likes to say, toodles.